Hello, this is Randall Harvey of Novell. I'd like to welcome you to the quarterly audio update from the Netware Products Division. This tape is designed to give Novell's worldwide channel partners and sales professionals the latest information from the Netware Products Division. The content of this tape is valid from January 1995 through March of 1995. On side 1 of this tape, we will discuss Netware 4.1, the latest release of Netware which began shipping in mid-December. Topics will include positioning of Netware 4.1, new features of Netware 4.1, how to sell Netware 4.1, and how Netware 4.1 compares against Microsoft NT. On side 2 of this tape, we will hear a Netware 4.1 program and marketing activity update. With me in the studio today from the Netware Products Division are Jim Green, Product Line Manager for Netware.
Hi, Randall.
Michael Bryant, Product Marketing Manager for Netware.
Thanks for having me, Randall.
And Ladd Timpson, Director of Netware Market Development. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks, Randall.
Let's start with you, Jim. With the introduction of Netware 4.1, can you please give us an overview of the product?
Be happy to. Before I do that, though, let me just say that we are absolutely delighted to be able to have 4.1 released and on the market. This is a product that we've been working on for a long time. We feel very, very good about the product. In fact, our Vice President of Engineering, Dave Stevenson, has made the statement that this is the best tested, most sound and reliable product that Novell has ever produced. And I really feel good about that from a marketing point of view, too. It makes marketing and selling this product a whole lot easier when you know that you have a sound, solid product to begin with. We announced the product formally to the public on December 12th. And began shipping the product on December 14th. We feel there is a great deal of momentum, and as I talk to you today about positioning of the product and key messages, I guess overall the message I'd like to leave with people is that this product is a great product and it is ready almost to sell itself. But if there's one thing that everybody needs to do, it's to get some learning experience on this product and to be able to answer customers' questions, because customers are going to come to those resellers and to those support individuals who know the product, and they're going to go to those that know it and bypass those that don't. The key message and the theme, really the overall theme of Netware 4.1 is that it's the only network operating system ready for tomorrow, today, which means the product is here today. And it's a product that you and your customers are going to be able to leverage for a long time. Netware 4.1 we were repositioning. When we brought out Netware 4.0, we positioned it for the enterprise primarily. And with 4.1, we are positioning it as a product for everyone. And the key messages there, the key reasons why 4.1 is for everyone, is because, first of all, it lowers the cost of network ownership. It makes your network less expensive to keep up and to maintain. Number 2 is that it's easy. It's easy to use, it's easy to administer, it's easy to migrate to. These also provide huge productivity gains. A lot of people are saying, well, this is advanced technology, I don't need advanced technology. Well, if you look at all of the software of today, it's very advanced, but that complexity is hidden through an easy-to-use front-end interface. And we've included that in Netware 4.1 to make it very easy to use and to mask that complexity and still make it very, very powerful. And then third and finally, this is the platform for pervasive computing. Those of you who are familiar with Novell's key vision message, the message is that pervasive computing is the computing of the 90s and into the 21st century. And Netware 4.1 and Netware 4 is the platform that we are going to build the key modules of pervasive computing upon.
Great, thanks, Jim. For those resellers who have had great success selling Netware 3, and also for our customers that have had great success with that product, can you give us the key differences between Netware 4.1 and Netware 3?
Sure, you bet. First of all, I need to really emphasize that as we started to build and to engineer Netware 4, we started with Netware 3. The foundation block of Netware 3 of Netware 4 is Netware 3. we took Netware 3 and added directory services to it. What does directory services do? It allows you very simply and very easily to have a common single instance of each user on the network so that there is a single login, a single point of administration. Now, Netware 3 had facilities in it that synchronized logins across servers, but it still meant that administrators needed to set up users multiple times. Directory services avoids that and avoids the redundancy that was apparent and inherent in Netware 3. To directory services, we have tightly integrated a state-of-the-art security system. It is actually a public key, private key crypto system from the RSA Corporation that we have licensed from them and include in the product. And it is tightly integrated into the directory service so that not only do you have a single login to the network, but is an extremely secure login. And the security is very granular. The administrator, in very simple and easy ways, is able to set up really an operating system that is much more secure than any of the competitive products and even the Netware 3. Then we add to that graphical interfaces to make it easy. As I mentioned, that's one of our key messages. One of the advantages that we've added to NDS is that we're able to integrate messaging into the directory services so that your email backend, your message delivery system, is actually one and the same as your login system is, and so you don't need to do dual administration of those two systems. And for those people who don't have an email application, we've included FirstMail that allows you to do email applications as well and send messages back and forth and that type of activity. For those of you who have an email system already, then the backend that we've integrated into the directory will be a huge advantage to you to tie your front end of choice into our very robust and easy to manage back end. And there are a number of other products that used to be separate products from Novell that we've bundled into 4.1. So bottom line, what we're saying here is that we've taken Netware 3 and we've added value to it. And we've added great new features and great new productivity.
Thanks. You mentioned that when Netware 4 came out, it was primarily targeted at enterprise customers. What size account is Netware 4 targeted for? What accounts can use that product?
Well, I really look at Netware 4 as an acorn. It is a server product that can go into the smallest single server networks. That's why we still offer it at the 5, 10, and 25 user level stratifications. We've taken the directory service and made it fully backwards compatible to the bindery that was in Netware 2 and Netware 3. We've taken the directory and made it transparent so that if you choose the simplified install in Netware 4, you don't even know that you're running the directory. For all practical purposes, it looks like a much easier to use Netware 3. And so really we've targeted it to the smallest of customers, but building into this acorn the capability to grow into an oak. And larger customers, as they add additional servers, they can use some of the advanced features that are there. And as we talk about some of these other advanced features, you'll see that we have added a great deal of value to Netware 4.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Michael, Jim talked earlier about the cost advantages of Netware 4.1, the fact that you can actually reduce cost of ownership by migrating to Netware 4.1. Can you give us some more detail on that?
Well, certainly, Randall. But first, I think it's important for us to understand the cost associated with owning a network. An independent research organization, the Gartner Group, actually came out with a study that indicated over 70% of the cost of owning a network is actually related to the personnel cost of administering and maintaining that network. And roughly that other 30% was related to things like hardware and software cost. Well, with Netware 4.1, we actually allow you to lower the cost of owning that network on both fronts. For the hardware cost, we have features that reduce the cost of the hardware required in your network environment, things like disk compression, data migration, and file suballocation. These features actually save you in terms of hardware cost. For example, the disk compression can actually increase the amount of disk storage space that's available. So it prolongs the availability of your hardware. In other words, you can wait twice as long before you have to add additional disk storage.
So it really helps you avoid hardware expense.
That's correct. Now, that's just one piece of the cost of owning a network. The other part, that large percentage, that over 70% related to administration cost, maintaining the network and adding users and things like that, Novell 4.1, or Netware 4.1 really does a great job here, because with the graphical user interface that Jim alluded to earlier, for example, it makes it easier to add users, change user-specific parameters, for example, on security, trustee assignments, things such as this. So that task that used to take 4 or 5 steps, for example, can now be completed with 1 or 2 steps using the graphical user interface that's available in 4.1. So looking at these two specific areas, the hardware cost and the administration or cost to maintain your network, there was another study done by another independent research organization, the Meta Group, which indicated that Netware 4.1 actually can save you the cost of owning a network by 25%. So you can see, as Jim alluded to earlier, that 4.1 actually does lower the cost of owning a network, and it's measurable.
Mm-hmm. And for those customers that are using Netware 3, in terms of adding users, changing users, where they had to do that on each server in the past, now they do that once. Is that right?
That's correct, Ron. In fact, there's a new utility that's available in Netware 4.1 called NetSync, which enables you to administer your Netware 3 servers from a Netware 4 graphical user administration utility. So those changes, as you alluded to, that you make once, you only make them once for your Netware 4 server or your Netware 3 server. Once you've made them, they're propagated throughout your network.
So, Michael, what are the overall compelling business benefits that a reseller can point out for their customers?
Well, Randall, I think they're all really tied into the key messages that Jim mentioned earlier. The primary one, which we just discussed in detail, the lower cost of ownership. I mean, that, from a business perspective, is a clear winner. In addition to that, there are messages regarding ease of use and ease of administration and the easy ability to migrate to. I mean, most people today have a network and they say, okay, it's time to make that change, but God, I don't want that headache of upgrading or migrating. We've made that easy. We've included utilities to migrate from a Netware 2 or a Netware 3 environment, and other competitive products such as LAN server. Those are included with Netware 4.1. So the migration part is very easy. The installation part, as Jim mentioned, is easy. The administration with graphical user interface is easy. And I know I keep saying easy, but that is a compelling reason. It's easy to use and administer Netware 4.1. In addition to that, as Jim also mentioned, the platform for pervasive computing. There's no way around it. Pervasive computing is the future, and we're going to get you there today. So if you want to have a platform today that will take you there tomorrow, buy Netware 4.1.
So, Michael, it sounds like there are tremendous business benefits of moving to 4.1 that resellers can point out for their customers. Along with those benefits, what has Novell done in terms of pricing for Netware 4.1?
With Netware 4.1, we've done some pretty exciting things in terms of pricing, Randall, and I'm glad I'm the one that gets to answer this question. We've actually made the pricing for Netware 4.1 equivalent to the pricing for the Netware 3 product line. So from the 5-user up to and through the 250-user version product, the price is identical. So what's really exciting about this, Randall, is that for this identical pricing, you get all these new features that Jim referred to earlier and that I touched on briefly. You get the disk compression, and you get the integrated messaging, and you get the directory services, all for the same price as the Netware 3 product. What could be a more compelling reason?
Sounds great. The other thing that resellers are concerned about, and also our customers, is the availability of Netware loadable modules. What's the status with Netware 4.1?
The status with Netware 4.1 is really good, Randall. The majority of our NLMs that ran with Netware 3 are running with Netware 4.1 today. So within 60 to 90 days of the release of the product, our intention is to have all of our Novell NLMs running with Netware 4.1 and taking advantage of directory services where appropriate. And then, of course, there's the third-party support of NLMs for Netware 4.1. It's large now, and it's growing daily.
I think that's really valuable information, and let me just add that customers and resellers can get up to the minute the latest availability status of certified NLMs from the Novell labs, the people who test for compatibility, by calling our faxback service. In the U.S. and Canada, that number is 1-800-414-LABS, Labs, 1-800-414-LABS. For those calling outside of the United States and Canada, or who don't have access to 800 numbers, it would be 801-429-2799.
Thanks, Jim. Let's go back to you for a minute,
Okay.
and let's talk just a little bit about competitive issues. There's been a lot in the press lately about network operating systems, which one is right for me. Can you give us some comparison or provide a framework that our customers and resellers can use to position Netware 4.1 versus competitive products?
Absolutely. You know, when we first brought out Netware over 11 years ago, one of the key things one of the key reasons we brought it out was to increase the productivity and to decrease the cost of owning personal computers. People were tired of running files back and forth on floppy diskettes, and so we put file services into Netware. As laserjet printing came out, or laser printing came out, it became too expensive to buy a laser printer for every desktop, and so print services were brought out. The key benefit of the architecture of Netware is that as the market evolves and as the market demands new functionality and new services, Netware is architected in such a way that these things can be easily snapped in and implemented into the product. Today, as we look at the services that our customers require, they of course still require file and print. However, that set of core services has moved beyond file and print, and we have many other services, and we feel that any customer in the market for a network operating system needs to look at these core services being available to them, not only being available to them, but being available as a core integrated part of the product. And those services, like I mentioned, are file, print, directory, security, messaging, management, and routing. And with those 7 key services there, we feel that the networks are very well positioned to move forward into the late 90s and early 21st century, where we really are going to be spending our time as businesses interconnected into virtual corporations. And Netware 4 is positioned to do that very, very well.
Excellent point. So with that background, how does Netware 4.1 compare with Microsoft's NT Server?
Okay, first of all, as we talk about that, we need to understand that NT is 2 separate products. There is NT Workstation, which is a desktop operating system, and there is NT Server. We intend to fully support and integrate NT Workstation into the Netware environment because it will be another desktop operating system, and Netware has always been the best in the industry at integrating heterogeneous desktops. Now, as we look, though, at NT Server, let me do a comparison between Netware as a server product and NT as a server product with the NT Server 3.5. First of all, in file services, NT Server offers basic file services, and in fact offers the same basic file services pretty much that Netware 3 offered, with some notable exceptions. First of all, Netware 3 and Netware 4 offer namespace support, which basically means that if you're a Macintosh, a Microsoft Windows, or an OS2, or a DOS client, you have the capability of having that file system on your network appear as a natural extension of your native file system. But the advantage there is that a file saved from a Macintosh that looks to the Macintosh like a Macintosh file, through that namespace will also have a name for the DOS file, so that a PC can pick up and use that file, and you can actually use your server to interchange without converting your data to interchange files. In Microsoft's NT Server, they have that there, but it is used for those file systems that have longer than the 8.3 standard naming that's in DOS and MS Windows. For the long name systems like Unix and like NT and like OS2's high performance file system and like the Macintosh file system, that's an emulation of the NT file system. It's not a native namespace. And so Netware has a much more high performing and much more native type use of the file system and extension of the file system, so it's much more powerful. But NetWare 4, as Michael mentioned, adds compression, suballocation, the capability to migrate less used files to nearline storage instead of online storage. And all of those capabilities in the file system of NetWare make it a much superior file system to that of NT Server.
What about the other core services?
Okay, let's look at each one of those. Printing. Of course, we both do printing. NetWare is able to have the print server running on the file server and actually share client-attached printers up to 256 per print server, so it's much more economical, but the basic printing capabilities are in both systems. But as we move to directory, that's where there is a dramatic difference between NT Server and NetWare 4.1.
Can you explain that for us a little
Yeah,
more?
NT Server uses what's called a domain name system, and basically what it is a naming system that enables you to tie a group of servers together and gives you a single ID. NetWare is a directory, which is a global directory and is much more than a naming system. It is a data repository, and each object in the network or each resource in the network shows up as an object with its own properties so that I can actually program to the directory. And there are a series of open available APIs in our software developer kit that allow you to integrate your applications into the directory. So it is a much more powerful, much more scalable platform and provides a greater growth path for you than a domain service would. And both Microsoft's NT Server 3.5 and IBM's LAN Server 4.0 both use that domain system. Microsoft has mentioned that they will be moving to a full directory like we have in NetWare in the Cairo release, which we can expect in 1 to 2 years. And so we have a big advantage in the directory in providing this platform for pervasive computing. Security is another one of those services. Obviously, both of the systems provide for secure logins to the network, but by including this RSA technology that I talked about earlier, we are a far superior security system and actually provide an industry standard licensed and included within our product. And it is an open system as well in that sense because it is not a proprietary Novell system. As we talk about messaging, Microsoft NT Server includes messaging, but it is a server-centric messaging, meaning that I am only able to, and it's the Microsoft Mail product, I'm only able to route messages between users in my same server, and at best in my domain, whereas the messaging that is integrated into NetWare 4.1 is a service that is for every server on your entire network, whether that's local area or wide area. It includes every server on a tree, and it's not just bundled like Microsoft Mail is. It's integrated, which means I have a single point of administration for that as well.
Great. Now you mentioned routing.
Yeah. The routing services that come in NetWare 4.1 are really unparalleled in the industry. We, with our multi-protocol router product, which is a separate product, we provide the capabilities that most very expensive dedicated routing hardware provides. And that MPR 3.0 product for IPX, TCP/IP, and AppleTalk protocols is included within NetWare 4.1. Not as a separate product, but again as a bundled product that is capable of routing those three protocols that I mentioned, as well as a new link services protocol. NetWare Link Services Protocol is a dynamic routing protocol that can increase the productivity of your routed information across the network dramatically. We're measuring as much as 200 to 300%. So routing is again a key advantage that we have. And finally, management, the seventh service that we haven't talked about yet. We provide a flexibility in managing your network from a logical point of view. The graphical administrator that comes with NetWare 4 views the entire network as a logical whole, even though it may reside halfway around the world from each other. And we provide tools that allow that management to be very simple and very easy and to change as your organization changes. So as you look at those 7 key services, really file and print are the two that our competitors have in common with us. We feel that we have superior services there, but everyone offers file and print. Security, they have limited security. We have a much more robust and open security. And as far as routing and messaging and directory, we have a huge advantage in that area over our competitors.
So bottom line, how would you position Netware 4.1 and NT?
NT, well, let me talk about how NT Server is being positioned or is trying to be positioned by the Microsoft marketing juggernaut. First of all, they're trying to say that application services is what our customers want, and as long as you buy a strong, robust application server, you'll be able to then have file and print as well, kind of as the tag-along cousins. Okay, we need to make sure that the market is not confused by what they mean by an application server. An application server is where you serve applications and the applications actually run cooperatively on the server in that type of a platform. We mustn't confuse that with the standard Microsoft front office, those products that traditionally have run on the desktop, or Novell's products through WordPerfect that traditionally run on the desktop but are served from a file server. Those applications run very, very well on NetWare, always have and always will. And NetWare is the better program or platform for that. Also, we mustn't confuse application services with network services. For example, access to IBM mainframes. We have an NLM called Netware for SAA, which is the #1 selling mainframe access to IBM SNA environments. It runs as an NLM. It runs very well as an NLM and is a very much more powerful and robust application than Microsoft's SNA server application is. So as we look at the strictest definition of application server, that's where our Unixware product competes with NT Server. And in that area, we feel we compete very well with the Unixware product. But we mustn't confuse applications running on the clients or services running on the server. Where NetWare really has shown over the years, and where we have hundreds, if not thousands, of applications already out there on the market, mainstream applications that are very, very powerful and very, very cost-effective.
So Netware 4.1 will integrate very well with Microsoft NT on the desktop, and will continue to integrate with that platform as well as other desktop platforms.
Absolutely, but as a server platform, NetWare, starting 11 years ago, was architected as a server platform and not as a desktop platform, nor as an application platform for those large interactive applications, but rather for network services. And as a server platform, it is much more robust architecture and much superior to the general purpose operating system architecture of Windows NT 3.5.
Important points. You have talked a lot about 4.1 in this broadcast today, but let's go back to even 4.0. And with the introduction of Netware 4.0, what kind of track record do you have with Netware 4 to this point?
Well, we're extremely encouraged with Netware 4. Netware 4.0 came out in late March of 1993. By the end of 93, IDC reported independently through their analysis system that we had garnered 10% of the market share of all network operating systems sold in 1993. We feel that's pretty good for 9 months on the marketplace. We far outdistanced even our closest competitors. As we look at where we've gone from there as well, we've won a number of awards. 2 years in a row now, PC Computing has named Netware 4 its Operating System of the Year, and it's given it the MVP award. We've also won numerous awards from, including Product of the Year, Land Magazine Product of the Year, and many other awards. And we see that demand just absolutely taking off and increasing. And we anticipate by the end of 1995 that Netware 4 will be selling more than Netware 3.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Let's turn our attention now to some of the objections that resellers may face as they go out to market Netware 4. Michael, why should a customer go to Netware 4.1?
Well, there are quite a few reasons, Randall, But before I get into those, I wanted to step back for just a quick second and just make sure that everyone understands that the 10% market share that Jim mentioned was for NetWare 4. And NetWare 4 outsold all of the network operating system's competitive products. But Novell still had over a 66% market share if you look at how much NetWare 4 and NetWare 3 we sold. And recently there was another study that was done that showed that in the first 4 to 6 months of '94, Novell actually held a 70% market share of network operating system sales, and that the amount of NetWare 4 that was selling percentage-wise has increased. So I just wanted to go back and make sure everyone was aware of that before we tackled.
So success for NetWare 4 is building.
It's building.
And it's gone beyond 1993. It's carried on into 94, and we see it carrying on very, very strongly in 95.
Exactly.
Good point. So with that, we have a lot of NetWare 3 customers, resellers are working with. Why should they move to NetWare 4.1?
It's a good question, Randall, and I'm sure it's a question a lot of people out there are asking themselves. And I think we need to approach this by looking at some of the objections that people have had with NetWare 4 since its early introduction. Today, people are still holding on to some of the old baggage, if you will, that was associated with the 4.0 release of NetWare 4.
Stability, for example.
Exactly,
being a concern.
stability. With NetWare 4, we released a product that we were proud of, but there were some issues surrounding directory services specifically. And we worked hard to fix those with 4.1, and they are fixed. 4.1 is an excellent product, as Jim alluded to earlier. Our Vice President of Engineering, Dave Stevenson, is very confident about this product. It is the best tested product that Novell has released. So those issues have been dealt with. But if people haven't heard that yet, they may still be thinking about things they heard when 4.0 was released. So that's one objection that we need to get past. That's been dealt with. The software is very stable. It works very well. And the resellers need to get out there and work with the product so that they can feel comfortable with making that statement. I feel comfortable with it, having talked to Dave Stevenson and the engineers, and the resellers just need to work with the product, prove it to themselves, and go out and express that same message with confidence to our customers.
Thank you. As far as interoperability with NetWare 3, we have a lot of customers that may want to bring NetWare 4 in-house, but they certainly want to be able to operate both systems. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Randall, no problem, piece of cake. We mentioned earlier NetSync, and NetSync is the utility that makes all that very possible. With NetSync, using the Network Administrator utility in NetWare 4, you can administer your NetWare 3 file servers through that same graphical user interface. So once again, make the change once, it's propagated throughout your network, regardless of whether that's a NetWare 3 and NetWare 4 network or strictly a NetWare 4 network. So the interoperability with NetWare 3 is there today.
Tell us about education available for our resellers.
Education is outstanding. I'm very proud of the education organization within Novell. We have 4 or 5 classes that are specific to NetWare 4.1 that will be available in January, I believe, starting in January. And these classes are very good. They run from 3 to 5 days, I believe. And as Jim Green has mentioned before, education is a very small cost once you look at the cost of owning a network. And with education, you're confident with administering and working with your network. So the classes that Novell offers today will just make it easier. Although we make it easy with 4.1, there are some new technologies that we've introduced. And with these classes, we make it easier to understand those.
Where would a customer call for more information?
For more information about the courses that are available, customers can call, within the U.S. and Canada, customers can call 1-800-233-EDUC, or EDUC.
Okay, so 1-800-233-EDUC.
That's correct.
Okay. There has been a perception, as NetWare 4 was introduced, that you needed to spend lots of time planning before you ever installed the operating system. Can you dispel that myth?
Most definitely. I think that perception stems primarily from, as Jim mentioned earlier, the enterprise marketing spin that we put on 4.0 when we released it. And in the enterprise environment, That usually is a more complicated environment just by the number of servers, the extent of your organization. It required planning, plain and simple. Any network requires some planning. But for those smaller businesses, maybe those single server or just a few servers in your environment, you can use the simple install right away, just like you would install Netware 3 today. You don't have to do any more planning with Netware 4.1 than you would for Netware 3. So the planning has been dispelled. We have the simple install where you can just go in and install it just as if it were a binary environment like Netware 3, and you're off and running.
Please summarize for us the compelling reasons that our resellers can use to help our customers move to Netware 4.
Love to, Randall. There was an issue about complexity, and I think we've dealt with that one very well here. The complexity is hidden, as Jim said, in the graphical user interface when it comes to administration. When you want to install it, we have the easy install, which makes it easier to install. The planning is no longer an issue. So in terms of complexity, I think that our resellers should feel comfortable going out now and saying, don't worry about complexity. Novell has solved that problem. There was also an issue about stability. And again, I think that stems from the 4.0 release of Netware 4. That has been dealt with, as Dave Stevenson, our VP of Engineering, mentioned. This is the best tested product that Novell has ever released. And so we've dealt with any of the stability problems that were originated early on in the release of the product. Pricing, a fantastic reason. I mean, Netware 4 selling at the same price as Netware 3, the identical price as Netware 3. How can you go wrong? And the availability of NLMs. As I mentioned earlier, the number is growing daily. There's a list of NLMs that are available. Jim mentioned the fax back number. You can call and get this list, and it's updated on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, from this presentation, our resellers now have the compelling reasons they've been looking for to go out and sell. This is a great product. There's no excuse to wait. Everyone's ready for it. And as Dave Stevenson, our Vice President of Engineering, said, now is the time to go to Netware 4.
This concludes Side 1 of this audio cassette tape on our discussion of Netware 4.1. Side 2 of this tape will be a Netware program update. Welcome to Side 2 of the Novell audio cassette tape. My name is Randall Harvey from the Netware Products Division. This tape is designed to give Novell's worldwide channel partners and sales professionals the latest information from the Netware Products Division. The content of this tape is valid from January 1995 through March of 1995. We will now discuss with Ladd Timpson, Director of Market Development, some of the programs and marketing activities available for Netware 4.1. Ladd, the release of Netware 4.1 provides Novell's resellers new business opportunities. What are some of the things Novell has done or will do to help its resellers take advantage of these opportunities?
Well, there are a number of things we're going to be doing. I'm real excited about some of the things that we've implemented and will continue to drive from a marketing perspective with the release of Netware 4.1. There really seems to be a lot of pent-up demand for this product. And we're real excited about that, and we anticipate that resellers can expect to see increased demand for this product. But we want to reassure our resellers that we're certainly not taking a field of dreams approach to the introduction of this product. We do not believe that if you build it, they will come. We want to implement marketing programs that will help the resellers take advantage of this very stable, very reliable, and very sellable product. So there are a number of things we've done to introduce the product and that we'll continue to do to support our resellers. Let me just talk about a few of them. First of all, we implemented without a doubt, the most extensive training for an introduction of a product that we've ever done for any other Novell product. We've conducted a number of field marketing activities beginning in the first part of November. We called it our November/December Blitz, whereby we trained all of our sales personnel in the field well in advance of the release of Netware 4. We provided them release copies, not a single copy, but multiple copies of Netware 4.1 that they could provide to partners they work with. And I'll talk about also some things we've done with our channel partners. We've also conducted Netware 4 days that gave a sneak preview of Netware 4.1 in November. our satellite broadcast, and I'll review that a little bit as to what we'll be doing in an ongoing fashion there. The December Netware 4 days was focused solely on Netware 4.1. We provided our field offices reference accounts that can be used at our reseller sites both in hard copy and video form. The bottom line here is that our Novell sales force is better prepared in advance to support this product than any other product. That means a lot to resellers. I believe that when resellers call our field offices, they're going to be better prepared to support the release of this product and to support the ongoing sales activities of this product with their partners and resellers in their area. So those are some field activities we've done. We have also, with this product, introduced a more aggressive channel program, making sure that our channel was up to speed on this product prior to its release. We also began in November reseller and distributor training, part of our November Blitz, whereby we trained all distributors and all reseller accounts that were willing to come into our Novell field sales offices on Netware 4.1. In fact, we estimated that through this Blitz training in our field offices that reached both our sales professionals in those field offices and our partner sales professionals, we estimated that we trained well over 9,000 people within the month of November and the first part of December.
So the response was very, very good.
Very, very good, and I think that indicates not only pent-up demand at the end user site, but pent-up demand for information on this product, as we saw virtually at all sales offices, standing room only audiences for these training sessions. We also took a very aggressive approach on providing pre-release software to our channel partners. Those listening to this audio tape, those platinum and gold resellers, received a pre-release copy of 4.1, a 3-user version of that product that allowed them to get hands-on training and hands-on experience with Netware 4.1 even prior to its release. Now, with the release of Netware 4.02, we introduced something new. We called it the Business Opportunity Kit. Now, with Netware 4.1, we're making that bigger and better than ever. In fact, the audio tape that you're now listening to came with the Business Opportunity Kit for Netware 4.1. But I want to take just a minute and review some of the other things that came in the Business Opportunity Kit so you're reminded of the tools that we provided you to take advantage of the sales opportunities there are for Netware 4.1. We have included, in addition to the standard marketing collateral like a sales brief, the sales guide, numerous other things in the Business Opportunity Kit. We've included a competitive white paper. We've included a 4-color brochure. We've included evaluation guides, a cost of ownership white paper. We talked about cost of ownership on side 1 of this tape, really highlighting the benefits of moving to Netware 4 from a cost of ownership perspective. We provided logo sheets and other Marcom-related materials that allow you as the reseller to advertise this product in your area. Logo sheets, short word descriptions that you can use in advertising. We provided an upgrade and migration guide, an implementation guide, a list of features comparing Netware 3 and Netware 4. Now, one of the important things that helps you sell Netware 4, we've also included success stories, both in hard copy and on videotape, so that you can use these in selling Netware 4. Provided education information. We've included a disc that allows you to help customers determine the return on investment for implementing Netware 4. And we've also included a number of presentations on disc that you can use in selling Netware 4. And then, of course, the audio tape that you're now listening to. So just a number of things that we have included in the Netware 4.1 Business Opportunity Kit. We also recognize that it's very important that you as resellers have demo copies of Netware 4.1, and we've taken a very aggressive posture on providing these demo copies to you. We began shipping at the first part of January demo products to all resellers, Platinums, Golds, and Authorized. Platinums, through their demo program and through their participation in the demo program, will receive a 100-user version of Netware 4.1. That can be used to run your business, and we encourage you to run your business and to highlight that product in your business sites as you sell this to customers. So Platinums receive a 100-user copy of Netware 4.1. Gold resellers in their business opportunity kit receive a 22-user version, a 22-user not for resale version of Netware 4.1. And then in the business opportunity kits that we sent to authorized resellers, we provide a coupon that can be redeemed for a 22-user version of Netware 4.1. The intent is to provide you a copy that you can run your business on, that you can set up a very effective demonstration of the product in your reseller sites. So we've taken an aggressive posture on that.
Well, it sounds like you've done some great things to help resellers, providing them with tools and aids to sell this product and really go to their customers, showing them the benefits of Netware 4.1. In addition to that, what has Novell done to help create end-user demand for Netware 4.1?
We will be introducing a number of end-user demand creation programs with the release of Netware 4.1, and which will be introduced in an ongoing fashion. Many of you may have seen the advertising campaign that we kicked off at the last part of 1994 that highlighted the 7 core services that a network operating system must provide. As a follow-on to that, we will be kicking off in January an aggressive ad campaign for Netware 4.1 targeted specifically at end users and describing to them the compelling reasons that we have talked about already on this tape for moving to Netware 4.1. We will also begin in February a direct mail campaign. One of the tremendous assets that Novell has is its installed base, and we will be kicking off a very aggressive direct mail campaign to that installed base beginning in February. Now, the real intent is to provide leads for you as resellers, and we will be making sure that those leads generated by the direct mail campaign go directly to you as resellers. We have implemented some time ago an evaluation program. We recognize that many of your end users may want to get hands-on evaluation or experimentation with Netware 4.1 prior to a purchase decision. We have implemented with Netware 4.1 an evaluation program that allows you as a reseller to get an evaluation copy of this product for your end user. And it's real simple on how we implement that. If you as a reseller have a customer that wants to get an evaluation copy of Netware 4.1, you simply have to call one of 2 people to get that evaluation copy. If you are east of St. Louis, you would call Lynn Riley. If you're a reseller that's west of St. Louis, you would call Peter Pogue. Once again, that gives you, the reseller, an opportunity to provide an evaluation copy to your end user if they deem that that's necessary prior to making a purchase decision. Now, we only provide that through our local offices or through our resellers. We do not provide evaluation copies to end users directly. So you play a key part in the sale of that product as a reseller. I'd like to also mention we're providing CNE hands-on program by offering a 2-user version of Netware 4.1 in some of the key Netware 4.1 courses offered through our NAECs. Any CNE or any administrator for that matter that takes one of the Netware 4 courses, actually there are 3 courses in which this 2-user version of Netware 4.1 is offered. It's in the administrator's course for Netware 4.1, the Advanced Administrators course, and the Directory Services course for Netware 4.1. Every student kit for those courses contains a 2-user version, a fully functional 2-user version of Netware 4.1. That allows the student that attends a course to take a copy of Netware 4 home with them and get hands-on experience with the product to help them in their ongoing functions as administrators or managers of the network. So those are some things that we're providing to make sure that there is hands-on experience with the product.
Will you continue, Ladd, the roadshow events for Netware 4.1?
Yes, we will. In fact, we are currently in the process of planning a roadshow and finalizing the plans for a roadshow to kick off in the March timeframe. That will not only highlight Netware 4.1, but highlight many of the solutions that are provided by not only Novell, but third parties to run and take advantage of the Netware 4.1 environment. So we encourage resellers to stay in touch with their local offices to determine when that roadshow will come to their area.
The Netware 4 promotion has been running for some time. Ladd, could you review that briefly and talk about how current Netware 4 customers will get their copies of NetWare 4.1?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Randall. Almost from the initial release of NetWare 4.1, from the time of that initial release, we introduced what we called the NetWare 4 promotion. And just as a review, that promotion provided all upgrades and updates to any customer that purchased and registered NetWare 4 prior to December 31st of 1994. Now, one of the big benefits of that promotion is that we're now able to provide free of charge to those customers NetWare 4.1. We have, in fact, already begun fulfilling on that promotion. Now, just so resellers are aware of how we are fulfilling to those customers, we are fulfilling that directly to the end user from our registered user base. NetWare 4.1 will be shipped directly to the customer. Now, in those countries outside of the U.S., local fulfillment may take place, and we need to probably iterate that local taxes and duties may apply in some countries outside of the U.S. But the fulfillment has already begun, and we will continue to make sure that all of the customers that purchased and registered NetWare 4 prior to the end of 1994 will receive NetWare 4.1 free of charge. As resellers work with end users, they need to make sure that if those end users were registered prior to the end of 94, that they get that copy. So they need to keep us honest, so to speak, and make sure that if they've got users that don't get that, probably through the January time frame, that they contact Novell and make sure that that gets rectified. So we are very committed to fulfilling on that promotion.
So Novell really is protecting our customers' investment that invested in NetWare 4.
Absolutely.
Are there any additional programs you think our resellers ought to be aware of?
Yeah, there are a couple that I'd like to mention that we haven't talked about to this point. We have worked with a company by the name of Preferred Systems in developing migration, actually a directory planning and migration tool that really simplifies the migration for our NetWare 2 and NetWare 3 customers to NetWare 4.1. This product is called DS Standard and is a directory planning tool that provides customers and resellers to plan the directory offline and then implement the directory on a NetWare 4.1 server. And it really complements the online tools that are included with NetWare 4.1. Now we are sending this DS Standard product, this directory planning and migration tool, directly to our channel partners. And we're also sending it to our registered NetWare 4 users. Shipment of that product began in January and will continue until we've provided that to all of our channel partners and to our registered NetWare 4 users. So it's a tool that our resellers can use in helping our NetWare 2 and NetWare 3 customers migrate to NetWare 4.
Great. So along with the ease of use that we talked about earlier in the tape, not only do we have those facilities available, making NetWare 4, that migration to NetWare 4 much easier, but now with this tool, they can use this to plan and migrate from their current environment.
That's absolutely correct. I want to iterate here that many installations will not have to go through a lot of planning to move to NetWare 4. As discussed earlier on this tape, we have provided an easy installation with NetWare 4.1 that allows the customer to get up and running with a flat directory structure and take advantage of NetWare 4. So many installations will not require real extensive planning, but this does help to plan the directory offline and really make the migration to NetWare 4 easier. I might also mention that with NetWare 4.1 we introduced some tools that allow the network administrator to more easily manipulate the directory once it is installed. And just to reiterate, those tools being merge tree and rename container. Those types of tools allow the directory to be manipulated after it is once installed. There's something else we're going to be doing that I think our resellers ought to be aware of, because it really lends itself towards a solution sell. beginning in January, we are shipping what we call the Novell Smart Solutions CD. This is a CD-ROM that showcases NetWare 4 solutions. Now, it provides demonstrations of products running in the NetWare 4.1 environment, not only from Novell, but also over 50 partners demo their products on this CD-ROM catalog, so to speak, and really demonstrate 75 products that resellers can sell as solutions.
Can you give us some idea of those products?
Well, I think our resellers are familiar with many of our Novell generated NLMs, like NetWare for SAA, NetWare NFS, NMS, our management products, and many other Novell products. But there are many products like backup products, like antivirus products that really enhance the NetWare 4 environment and that are provided by third parties. What that provides to the resellers is an opportunity to not only go in and sell NetWare 4.1, but also sell additional add-on products that really enhance margins on that NetWare 4.1 sale. And this tool showcases those solutions that resellers can offer to their customers. And so we encourage resellers to take advantage of that and really use that Novell Smart Solutions CD as a way to provide solutions and to sell solutions in the NetWare 4 environment.
So our resellers can use those products to not only hopefully increase their revenues, but also meet their customers' needs.
Absolutely.
Great. I'm sure that many of the resellers listening to this audio update have had the opportunity to view NetWare 4 Days, your monthly satellite broadcast. Could you give us an update on what the future holds for the NetWare 4 Days broadcasts?
Yes, thanks, Randall. I'll do that. We began our NetWare 4 Days for one reason and one reason alone. We felt like there was a need for additional information and up-to-date information to go out on a monthly basis on NetWare 4. We began those in June of 1994 and conducted those on a monthly basis through the end of 1994. Our last monthly broadcast was conducted on December 7th. We highlighted NetWare 4.1, introduced NetWare 4.1. During that, we heard from Bob Frankenberg, our president and CEO. We did a tour of Novell and met many of the developers, engineers, testers that were involved in the introduction of 4.1. In order to allow us to concentrate on other marketing activities, sustaining marketing activities on NetWare 4.1, we will be moving to a quarterly broadcast of the NetWare 4 Days. Our next broadcast will be in February. We'll actually be on February 1st. And after that, we will conduct a quarterly broadcast to our field offices on the first Wednesday of May, August, and November. Be at the same time, same places, but we are moving to a quarterly format. We'd like our resellers to be aware of that because we know many of our resellers have looked forward to attending those monthly satellite broadcasts at our field offices. They can still look forward to those, but they need to recognize that those will be conducted on a quarterly basis with broadcasts in February, May, August, and November. Now, we encourage you to stay tuned for the February release because our theme for that satellite broadcast will be NetWare 4.1 delivers integrated services. And we'll talk about many of the integrated services that come with NetWare 4.1 and what they really are and what they really provide to customers. Things like integrated messaging services will be highlighted. Our system fault tolerance services that are provided with NetWare 4.1 that provide enhanced fault tolerance in the NetWare 4 environment, providing true server mirroring. So those are some of the integrated services that we'll talk about in our February NetWare 4 Days broadcast.
We'll look forward to that. Well, it sounds like, Lad, that your group has put together some excellent tools to help our resellers move the NetWare 4.1 product and provide the advantages to our customers that product includes, along with the programs that you've outlined to help create and generate end-user demand. Are there any final comments that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate a couple of things that we've talked about on this tape that I think are real important and that provide true business opportunities for our resellers. We talked about the new pricing model for NetWare 4.1. We talked about the introduction of additive licensing that allows customers to grow their network in a more flexible fashion. I think that in and of itself provides additional business opportunities for resellers. Let me give you an example. You as a reseller may have a customer out there that's a Netware 3 customer, and they've been running on a Netware 3 100-user version. They've thought about going to Netware 4. Their network has really expanded beyond the 100-user level, but they're not quite sure they want to upgrade to a 250-user version of Netware 4.1. What this additive licensing would allow you as a reseller to do is go into that customer and say, okay, I will upgrade your Netware 3 100-user to Netware 4 100-user, but I will also sell or provide you a 25-user as an example that allows you 125 users to meet your needs now and in the future. So it really provides some flexibility to go in and meet the needs of a customer more specifically. And so that's one thing I'd like to highlight that I think really provides additional opportunities.
And not only that, but now that, as Michael mentioned, we've dropped the price of Netware 4.1 to Netware 3.12 level.
That's correct. So particularly for our 3.1 installed base, our Netware 3.11 installed base, customers can now, those customers can now say, well, gee, I could either go to 3.12 or I could go to 4, Netware 4.1. It's the same price. Boy, why wouldn't I go to Netware 4? It's really a no-brainer when it gets right down to it. They get the enhanced capabilities of Netware 4 at the same price of going to 3.12. And let me provide reassurance that Netware 4.1 is every bit as stable as Netware 3.12, if not more. And so if there's a concern about stability, if there's a concern about it being a new environment, those concerns can really be alleviated by a reseller going in and saying, the product is built on a solid foundation of Netware 3. It adds new capabilities. It will allow you to more easily administer your network. It will prepare you for the future. It will be the platform for services that you as a customer will certainly need in the future. And so we think there are some real opportunities there. And I just wanted to reiterate those as I ended my portion of this audio tape.
Thanks, Led. Now, let's hear from Data Systems West, a Novell Platinum reseller, about their commitment to Netware 4, and also Dave West of Long John Silver's and their experience of migrating to Netware 4 before providing you some vital phone numbers.
My name's Phil McGavro. I'm Vice President for Data Systems West, and my areas of responsibility really are twofold. One is to listen to the customer, to find out what the customer's needs are, both short-term and long-term. And second, based on the customer's needs and requirements, to produce the solutions that will solve those needs and requirements using our engineers and sales force to accomplish that. Other resellers need to look at Netware 4 very seriously now, because Netware 4 is going to be solving many customers' problems in terms of integrating voice, data, and groupware solutions. Resellers need to invest the time and the effort to this product because we seriously believe that it's going to be an extremely strong product in customer enterprises to solve those problems. I think that resellers that are hesitant in selling Netware 4 really need to look at and try the technology. They need to implement it in their own organization first. And then they really need to look at what their customers' needs are and where their customers are heading to see where Netware 4X has the advantages relative to Netware 3X. All new technology, people are always hesitant to try new technology and to work with new technology. But once we see that the benefits in Netware 4X are so superior to the 3X product, then it makes sense to invest the time and the energy so that we can prove it to ourselves. That's what we're doing at Data Systems West, and that's the advice I would give to other resellers as well. To date, our percentage of Netware 4X sales relative to 3X sales is fairly small. We envision probably that next year, as 4.1 really rolls out, that they will be probably 50% 4 and 50% 3. And probably by Q4 and on into 96, we envision that that majority will clearly go to Netware 4X. I'm very excited about Netware 4.1. Our company has continued to grow because we offer enterprise solutions. Our customers are looking to do more and more. They're looking to become more and more efficient. The paperless office that's been talked about for the last 5 years is now starting to become reality. And we believe that Netware 4.1 is going to make the paperless office a reality.
My name is Dave West, and I work for Long John Silver's Restaurants Incorporated. I'm the network administrator here, and responsibilities primarily are taking care of the local and wide area networks. We currently use Netware 4 to help communicate with all our restaurants out in the field. We have approximately 1,000 company-owned restaurants that we have to poll every night and get the information back for our executive information system. We report that on a daily basis, so we like to see the exact sales from the previous night. The way we do that is we have a polling mechanism which we dial into those corporate shops. That information is then uploaded to our Novell network, and our mainframe is attached to the Novell network as well. We upload that data to the mainframe, the numbers are crunched, then brought back down to the network and put into our executive information system, which displays it in a nice graphical format so that the end users can make heads or tails of what the shops are doing. But Novell is the pipeline of information that we transport all that back and forth through, and the repository of where we keep all our data as well. The decision to go to Netware 4 was primarily my initiative. My boss, the Director of Technical Services, and I had been to several of the Novell presentations, and we had seen some of the features and some of the benefits of Netware 4. So I began to research the product, get some hands-on, and do some testing with it. Then I made a recommendation to our Vice President, the Director of ITS, and my boss as well, and kind of sold the product on them. And once they saw the benefits of it, then they decided to go ahead and do a corporate-wide rollout of the product. Two of the reasons I would suggest going from the 3 platform to the 4 platform would be, first of all, you can really have an exact emulation of what you're used to with Bindery. You can go to the Netware 4 platform and set it up just like what you're used to, and once you're comfortable with it, go ahead and migrate over to directory services. Also, the improvements that you'll get in speed, both file and print, are considerable from our experience, as well as the extra tools and functionality that you'll have by going to the new platform. We started off just on a test server when we began our implementation of 4. A small server, started off with Bindery emulation because we weren't really that familiar with directory services at the time. We started rolling it out one server at a time. We began out in the divisional offices, actually. They have pretty small presence out there. We have approximately 15 or 20 users in each division. So it's considerably easier to support a small number of users than to upgrade everybody here at corporate and have to deal with them all at one time. So we began a gradual migration of all the servers, and then the last thing to do was upgrade the corporate servers. We went with Bindery emulation across the board at the time, and we are phasing in NDS currently. Really the thing that sold the upgrade to Netware 4 was disk compression. That in itself saved us a considerable amount of money, not having to go out and buy extra hardware, put it on the machines, having to pay for my time and travel to go down to different areas or divisional offices to put that in place significantly made it much more feasible to go with the Netware 4 platform. Once we got our mind wrapped around the new ideologies of directory services, it's considerably easier from an end user standpoint and from a management standpoint. Having one single point of login for the entire network definitely makes it much easier for the user who doesn't want to have to log in several times, remember multiple passwords or multiple IDs for different file servers. So from their viewpoint, it's nothing but a big improvement. From an administration viewpoint, being able to administer it, seeing everything you're doing, and being able to get the speed increases as well as extra management functionality was significant for us. Netware 4 stability is, from at least my experience, considerably better than 3. We started off in Bindery emulation using Netware 4 as Netware 3, and I would consider it a better Netware 3 than Netware 3 because you get disk compression, some of the extra features that Netware 3 does not include. And then once you decide to make the switch to directory services, administration is considerably easier, as well as the end user vantage point, not having to see all the network as individual separate nodes, but you could see everything as one giant directory. Some of the features that are important to us, at least security-wise, are the public and private key encryption that is included with the Netware 4 product. Being able to know that you don't have to worry about a hacker coming on your network and getting on is important. We have confidential data that we want to keep secure, and we don't want anybody being able to get access to. And the security that's included with Netware 4 and the 4.1 product is significantly enhanced over the 3.11, 3.12 product that we've seen. Our plans for Netware 4.1, as soon as the product is released in December, we'll take an evaluation of the product on a couple of our test servers, make sure everything is working fine, and then I expect a corporate-wide rollout in the next month or two after that. Some of the things that we're expecting from the product are advanced administration utilities, something that we're not able to take advantage of right now. If we make a mistake on directory services, or if there's a small problem, it's much easier to use the administrative tools that come with 4.1 to be able to fix those problems, so we're anxiously awaiting that rollout. The reason we're going to go to Netware 4.1 when it comes out primarily is the enhanced administration tools, being able to prune and graft the objects on your tree right now does not exist with the 4.02 platform, and being able to do that will allow us to more effectively administer our network, making sure that we can put the correct users in the right place where they need to be. Or in our area, we have quite a bit of movement in the company alone, being able to take those users, move them into another place and keep them there. Or if they do decide to move somewhere else, take them and put them in another area on the tree. Has a big factor for us. We definitely see a large importance for that.
This concludes this audio cassette tape and the latest information on Netware 4.1. Now, I'd like to give you some phone numbers for more information. For a list of NLMs in the U.S. and Canada, call 1-800-414-LABS, that's L-A-B-S. Other locations can call 801-429-2799. For education information in the U.S. and Canada, call 1-800-233-EDUC. Other locations, please call 801-429-5508. For Banta literature in the U.S. and Canada, call 1-800-346-6855. Other locations can call 801-373-6779. For the Netware Products Division, this is Randall Harvey, wishing you the best in meeting your customers' needs by selling Netware 4.